guys, welcome back to week 2 of the DMR podcast, where we will be doing a little bit of everything this week. We're going to be a rundown. We're going to start off with just having a quick look over the waiver wire. It's been a busy couple of days. Would have been the first week of the waivers dropping there yesterday, so we're going to break down some of the big waivers that were done. We're just going to have a brief look back at week 1 ourselves. Obviously, some other podcasts out there that specializes in previews. We're just going to give our own little brief thoughts on it. We're going to jump into our own previews, and that's about it. Welcome in here now, obviously, 2 co-hosts. We've got Richie.
Hey, everybody.
And we got Del. So,
what's up, folks?
Yeah, we got 1 win between the 3 of us, so that's not a great start. Better than the other boys, but still not great. Us giving out advice, and we can't even get positive over 500 between the 3 of us. Oh, it would have been pretty hard because the 2 of you were playing each other last week.
Just realised that everything I say, the opposite happens. So now I'm just going to make up stuff and make up complete lies. And that's the opposite of what I want to happen. Like, I think Charlotte's going to win this week.
Yeah, you can't let that hubris sneak up on you. It'll really fucking screw you.
Exactly. It's all about the hubris.
I told Hubris he could eat a bowl bag of dicks at the start of Sunday. And I think by the end of Monday night, I was probably regretting that.
Calling Mark Ingram the best pick of the draft may have been the most hubristic thing we've experienced in the whole of Driscoll history.
Yep.
Although you were fairly right
this week.
You were fairly right when you call it your Jenga piece, because had you anybody in there at OB2, you probably would have done damage. So
Call it. The one thing I called correctly was my own downfall. Fantastic.
I know we'll just jump right into the waivers. I know you had a little list made up for Dell. You were kind of the notes, keeping track of some of the bigger waivers of the week. So you want to start us off with somebody, or just give us a brief rundown even?
Well, Rob, who has Lamar Jackson, decided to pick up A-Rod. So I don't know if he was thinking he'd have some trade value there, because I don't see any.
Me and Rob were talking yesterday. We couldn't come to an agreement. Parties.
It's going to be very difficult to trade a QB, considering there's so many good ones out there. So, I mean, I picked up Gardner Minshew, and I thought, I might try to trade him to John. And then I looked, and I went, why would he even bother giving me his worst player when he could pick up somebody who's going to do similar kind of numbers? So he picked up A-Rod. Can't really see how that helps him too much.
Yeah, John was the only other person to try and pick up A-Rod as well, which I'm pretty surprised at. I'm surprised a few people didn't go for him.
Well, to be honest, I didn't even bother putting it in because I knew he wasn't going to get past John. And then the big surprise was it was a very strange choice for Rob. Surely Benny Snell was the play. He's banged up at running back. He could have used Benny Snell in the couple of weeks when he's waiting for lads to come back and get healthy. So
I should have had Benny Snell on my bench now instead of Matt Breida. Although I got rid of Breida. I can't believe that. That was a horrible mistake. But I held on to him for 1 more week. My bench was just full of handcuffs. So so I don't see A-Rod being a huge pickup for Rob. Can't see him playing for him at all. I can't see him getting him traded. Maybe for the week that the Ravens are off. That's a bit.
I think he can find a trade partner, but I just don't think he's going to get as much as he was hoping he was going to get. Picking him up as the number 1 on the waiver.
Yeah, in terms of value, Benny Snell would have been better, and John went for him next, because John obviously lost Connor. So Benny Snell was the obvious pickup for John, and he got him. So solid pickup for John. I think that's going to work out for him. Mark went for Peyton Barber, and I think that might be based on the touchdowns, which are not going to come every week. His yards per carry were less than 2 yards per carry. Gibson had 4 yards per carry, and seemed like the better overall running back. So that's good news for me. I'm hoping Gibson sort of kicks on this week even more. So Peyton Barber, I don't know if he's going to do what Mark thinks he was going to do. What do you all think about those 2 running back pickups?
I think Mark just needed bodies in that backfield, because I think a lot of people came out very injured after week 1, and I think Mark's got to be probably at the top of the list when it comes to just unluck, especially with Marlon Mack out for the season. Carry on looking like he's the third string running back in Detroit now after AP just coming in and stealing all the touches. So I think I think it was the right call. Like obviously he had a claim in for Benny Snell as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think he was probably the next best running back available out there. So I don't hate it.
It's a committee backfield. I just don't think he's going to get those touchdowns every week, and I think his floor is probably low. Whereas his ceiling is reasonably high, but I think his floor is a bit low. But what about you, Richie?
Yes, I agree. I think it makes complete sense, especially I like the Benny Snell going to John. Peyton Barber did good. He like that. There's the jumping in over the top for the touchdowns. So if he can continue that form, that's gonna be great. But I don't know if he will.
I think the teams are going to be sort of awake now to the fact that he'll be getting goal line touches. So probably trying to stop him. So okay, we'll move on to your pickup, Morty. You were talking about needing an upgrade at tight end, and that's an upgrade at tight end.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't even considering throw one in. I was kind of looking a bit more into it, and apparently Zach Ertz is not happy behind the scenes in Philadelphia that he's not getting paid, and I think he's in the final year of his contract. Maybe something as the season develops, maybe that turns into something more. Maybe Philly just like they want to pay him and then end up trading him off, and then plus Goddard is the number one tight end in Philly, and Carson Wentz loves throwing the tight end. So I've seen it more as a long-term pickup, and I think I don't expect him to be scoring nearly 20 points every week, and there's definitely going to be weeks where he's probably going to do nothing, and Zach Ertz is going to get all the touchdowns. But
what do you think, Richie? You happy with his pickup?
No, I think it's a good pickup. I think if he can get 10 points a game, it'd be great, and then have the odd couple of games like that where he's hitting nearly 20, it'll do fantastic work for you.
I think it was pretty much the only position, apart from maybe getting A-Rod. I think it's probably the position you needed to upgrade. So targeting a tight end this week seemed like a good call, and you got a good one there. So I think it's a good pickup. Michael picked up Paris Campbell last year. I think it was last season. He was talking him up to me, and he's picked him up again this year. He's now fairly heavy at wide receivers, and he's lost his depth at right back a little.
For the man who drafted 5 running backs in a row, it's looking a bit thin there. All right.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked when I saw how heavy he is a wide receiver.
From what I've seen, Philly Rivers was targeting him a lot, so he's definitely an upgrade over N'Keal Harry in that sense. I think it could be.
Yeah.
He'd be a good player to stick in for bye weeks and stuff like that.
Yeah, if he can keep that form up, it'd be good. 10 points isn't amazing, but considering what some of the other wide receivers are doing this week, he's not a bad option. And like that, Philly Rivers is targeting him. He put up good numbers at the start of the game, and then kind of leveled out for the second half. But I think if he can keep those targets, keep Philly Rivers happy, I think he'll do quite well.
We'll go with a plus for that. Now, Connor picked up Frank Gore, and you're telling me he also dropped Frank Gore.
Today he dropped Frank Gore.
He picked up Traquan Smith, who is a wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. I think he's trying to hope that he's going to replace Michael Thomas and get some of those targets.
I'd say so.
Nobody's replacing Michael Thomas.
No.
No. But anyway, yeah. So picking up Franco and then dropping him for what he hopes to be the starting. I mean, it could work out for him, but Franco, like you're saying, he's going to get a lot of work. Since Le'Veon Bell's out. And at this point in his career, he's probably just going to go balls to the wall, because it doesn't really matter if he gets injured now. He's had 250-year career now or something, Franco.
Yeah, his son started playing college football.
College ball, yeah.
That's just how old he is.
He's almost as old as me, and I'm struggling to play 5-a-side on a Wednesday night without waking up on a Thursday thinking, oh God, it's got to be my last one. I can't do this to myself every week. How is he going out there getting hit by massive, defenders on a weekly basis? So I think
so him and his son can play together in the NFL.
Well, he's probably going to get so much use now that I reckon he's going to get broke sooner rather than later. But I thought it was a decent pickup, and then he dropped him for. It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange. But if Frank Gore's out there, I might take a look at him.
Well, it could be a fight between you two boys here, I reckon.
I think I'm all right. I think I'm okay enough at running back, so I won't be stressing out too much about it. I picked up
MBS. Be a sneaky good pickup if he turns into him and Alan Lazard are probably battling out for number 2 there now in Green Bay. So whoever wins out that, if A-Rod plays like he was playing last week for the rest of the season, that wide receiver 2 spot could be very valuable in fantasy.
I rewatched some of the games today, and he did look very impressive.
Yeah, he dropped another big pass as well, which could have been another big touchdown.
First one up would be the two of us. I expressed my opinions when he said good game.
Try to be friendly. There was in no way was I trying to take the piss out of you, Richie.
Oh no. No, like it's grand now. At the time, I wasn't very happy.
Yeah, I could sense the salt off you. All right. I genuinely picked you last week because I thought you were going to win.
Me too.
But you had some horrific putting Mike Evans in and his hamstring being dodgy.
Yeah, that was a ball call.
Yeah, it sort of it meant that he couldn't really open up, and that's where his game really is. The big plays, is sprinting down the field and stuff, and that just kind of really affected him. But for that play at the end of the game, it could have looked horrendous. And then Gronk getting he won 1.5 points.
I didn't realize he stuck fucking Gronk in there. I just assumed he had.
And Gronk played
so hard.
He played so many snaps as well. It wasn't as if he wasn't being given a chance. OJ Howard kind of outshone him with less targets. Gronk looked like a man who had retired and then came out of retirement for a year. After a year, which is what he is. So he just looked like that. So I don't know about Gronk. Sorry, Reggie?
Hopefully that was a week of shaking off the rust.
Hopefully. Brady also looked a little bit off as well. So yeah.
Like a man who left New England for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, John came in very hot against the Buccaneers. I'm willing to give it another week or two. Like, this man has been in the same scheme for about 20 years. It might just take him a while to gel, considering with the off season that we've had. I'm not ready to hit the panic button.
He made two mistakes really came back and bit him in the ass. Two big mistakes. You can make 2 mistakes in a game and they come to nothing. But he made 2 mistakes that really were very important. So I can't see Tom Brady making 2 of those mistakes every week. His interview afterwards, the coach came out and said, yeah, he made 2 big mistakes. And he said himself he made 2 mistakes. There's no beating around the bush there. He's like, this is the problem. I addressed that. And Tom Brady's going to sort that out. So yeah, I was pretty happy with Andrews taking touchdowns away from Ingram. That really pushed me on. And Cook's 2 TDs and the 2-point afterwards were very important because he got the same volume as Laddie Murray, but he got 14 points more because he got those 2 touchdowns, and which is fantastic. It shows he doesn't have to really do a whole pile to score 20 points. Yeah. Which is great.
Game script didn't really go for Dalvin Cook here because Vikings got down behind really early. So couldn't really afford to run the ball that much.
So overall, I thought you were going to win. It was fairly close, and I think it was just the consistency. Like Nuke Hopkins, no touchdown, but 151 yards receiving on 6 targets. 6 receptions. 16 out of 18, was it?
Something mad like that.
Yeah, I think it was 2. I think he only missed 2 of his targets and 151 yards, which is monstrous. And he had a touchdown taken off him. So he could have had a truly monstrous week. So all in all, good week for me, not a good week for you, Richie. I think we can move on from that matchup.
Yep.
Yeah, things don't get any cheerier anyway if we're going to be moving on to my matchup next.
Yep.
I don't know. There's a couple of points that I just don't think I was destined to win this game. There's a couple of things that just went against me. Like I think there's a span of about 5 minutes where Matthew Stafford threw an interception and Alan Lazard he caught a ball, stumbled, and instead of just going over for a nice easy touchdown, he stumbled at like the 2 yard line, and then 3 plays later, Aaron Jones is running in for a touchdown. So like that was like a 10 point swing right there. Then if Andre Swift just catches like the ball that was just dropped on him at the end of that Lions game, I would have won with that again. But like that happened. So I just don't think. And then obviously I was putting that bad juju out all Monday that the kicker was gonna miss a PAT, and then what did he do? Missed the PAT. So I just don't think I was destined to win that game. Too many freak weird things kept on happening. So. But I'll take the loss. Obviously, it's tough. 3 years in a row, I've lost by less than 1 point in a game matchup. But like I said, overall, I can be happy enough. I think if I can take something from this first week, is that I've got a lot of depth on my team. So I don't think if I get an injury or two, supposedly Chris Godwin's going to miss this week because he has a concussion. But like I'm not too concerned about that. I can move Stephon Diggs out of the flex and then stick someone from like Alan Lazard, Manny Sanders, who's probably is going to be the number one in New Orleans now. I can move him into the flex, so I'm not too concerned about that. Stick Montgomery in either. So Chris Godwin misses a week or two. It's not going to kill me. But yeah, obviously fair play to Shauna and Mr. Unlimited, who carried her to that win. He was absolutely fucking unreal, and he's probably going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he topped Lamar or Russell. Or Lamar or Mahomes and it'd be QB1. I think he's the one guy who can probably top them.
It was immense. It was a 23-point difference in your quarterbacks. He was almost hit 40 points. He was exceptional. He really was. Not the one.
I think that's one of the key things we talked about last week. If Matthew Stafford could hold Russell Wilson, I would have won it. He didn't hang with him. Then I lost. So it literally did come down to the quarterbacks.
Saquon as well, being locked down in the running game. Most of his yardage came receiving.
Again, that's another thing I was saying on Monday. I wasn't surprised that the Steelers are shutting him down because the Steelers are such a good defense. So I'm not. If he comes out and does that now for 2 weeks in a row, I'll get a bit more worried. But right now, I'm not too concerned about
it. What about Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, well. Great. Obviously, I'm not going to expect that every week from him, but it's good to see that volume of work he was getting, which is very encouraging going forward. So again, like it's a tough loss, but it's week 1. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
Will be replaced with fresh wounds this week.
Pressure is there. We'll be getting into that matchup later on there.
And next up, Hannah and Michael.
It was there.
That was a high scoring game. But Hannah, no surprise, we all said we liked her team, and her team did amazing. The only wrong call was the defense, and she called that out herself. She said, I said her defense would probably be her downfall because they're playing against Tom Brady in his first match with Tampa Bay. But Brady shit the bed, which no one saw coming.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be too. Obviously, Michael's pretty much famous for these kind of the last 2 or 3 years, famous for these kind of feats where he's usually the second highest scorer, still loses to the number 1 highest scorer. So I'm sorry, he's probably a little salty about that. But at the same time, I don't think he's overly worried. 140 points out of his team. Team looks good. Just unfortunate that he ran into someone that little bit better. But again, I'm not too worried about Michael's team.
His mistake this week was dropping A-Rod and picking up Big Ben. And I mean, when you play a quarterback that gets 27, 28 points, and that's a mistake. I mean, it just shows how immense a game A-Rod had. And I didn't see that coming. So I mean, when he dropped him and picked up Big Ben, I thought it was a bit of a dodgy decision because is Ben's arm back? right, is he going to be moving around? And very early on, he took a hit. He was fine, and then he started lobbing bombs down the field, just like he'd never been away. So, and yeah, so if it wasn't for the fact that Rodgers really excelled this week, it was a fine decision. So that was kind of a very unforeseen one. CEH was the one I was looking forward to seeing how he'd play. I thought it was going to be, boom or bust. I didn't think there was going to be any middle ground with him, and it was boom. He looked spectacular. He looked really, really good. Movement, his eye for a gap when he gets it after the tackle, his yards after the tackle looked pretty good. Everything about him was just top quality. So I think he's got his pick there. Like I said in the last one, I was worried about he may have reached a little bit for CH. In reflection, I don't think he did. I think he picked him at the right time. So that's a positive from Calvin Ridley. Took a lot of Julio Jones's plays off him as well, which was an interesting dynamic. Was Ridley on Hannah's team?
Hannah's team,
yeah, he's on Hannah's team, and Julio on Michael's team. So he put up massive points, Calvin Ridley, this week, and
touchdowns, I think.
Yeah, he got a couple of touchdowns. So that was just an interesting dynamic that I was watching. Whenever they were on the attack, they were like, throw left, throw fucking right, throw left, and then they just it's got a Ridley touchdown. Michael got to be going, fuck no. So that was just an interesting dynamic of the week. That
even if you flipped one of those touchdowns, if you took one of them off and gave them to Julio, Michael would have won. So
that's how tight it was. Really, really good. And as you say, Michael scoring buckets of points and still losing.
Famous for it.
What could happen to a nicer guy?
John and John.
Cougars versus the Hurricanes.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Got the bed. Something shocking.
All his gambles from the draft did not pay off.
Not one. Bad.
I'll let you take the floor on OBJ, Dell.
Last year, I drafted him over Julio Jones. I had a choice. I saw the two of them. I was like, you know what? He's got Baker Mayfield, who's got to come on this year. Baker Mayfield announced in college, got that Heisman Trophy. He is gonna be amazing. And he's got Odell Beckham now. This man can catch balls up in the air with one hand. Surely he has to be able. It has to be a match made in heaven. It's not. It's a match made in hell. I don't understand how it's not working. You've got a quarterback with a huge reputation and one of the most talented wide receivers in the game, and it just seems like if you double mark Odell Beckham, that's it. He just does nothing. So many times last year, I had a 2.6 off him or something like that, and I just thinking maybe he's not throwing the ball to me. He's fucking throwing the ball to him.
10 targets this week. 10 targets. 3 catches.
What?
10 targets. 3 catches. Something like 21 yards or something like that.
So I did say to John beforehand, be careful, he will shit all over your team if you give him the opportunity. And
maybe that's the problem. He likes to get shit on. He shits on it.
Yeah, but the irony is that he's the one doing the shitting when he likes to be the one receiving it. I just don't. He's so confused. He can't even do that right. So Odell Beckham, I just get rid of him. I mean, he's got the potential for the big week. I saw it, and I wouldn't even call it a big week. I call it an average week. 2 to 3 times last year, he had games that were average to okay to average. More often than not, he was a bust. So I think Odell Beckham could be the bane in his side this year. I also had Zeke last year, who started off slow enough. In this game, he didn't start off slow. He looked really good. I put a message in the chat.
He had a great first touchdown where he had about 4 lads lined up in front of him, and then he just goes like, picks the ankles of all 4 of them.
That juke off the left wing, he didn't even have to really sprint in. He just juked off the left wing and just went. Everybody was just screwed by the move. It was brilliant. I mean, I didn't see that last year until probably game 4. So this season, there's no holdout. He's obviously happier. I know there was no preseason or anything, but he just looks like a guy who doesn't have any worries. Whereas last year he looked like a guy who had a bunch of worries and then had to get to work on day one. It looks like now he was going in looking forward to day one, and he put up a fantastic game. So I think Zeke's gonna be extremely important for John this year.
Yeah,
Extremely, especially with Odell Beckham there.
James and Crowder on his bench. Oh, when you
Yeah.
need those points the most.
I'm not even sure if whatever lineup he put up, I'm not even sure he could have bet Johners.
No, John's points were insane.
He had a solid week all around with all his players.
Another wonderful debut. Like Hannah's had to be the highest scoring debut in Driscoll history, I'd say.
Yeah, and like Johners wasn't that far behind, like what, 7-8 points behind, something like that. He got like 138 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were bringing in like whipping boys. Instead, you bring in fucking seasoned pros. This is bullshit. How is this going to make me look better? It's not.
All it is. But I think Connors, it would have been close to beating Hannah if he had a set his ideal lineup. Like if he swapped out Nick Chubb for Carlos Hyde and George Kittle for Hawkinson.
There were calls you were never going to make.
Oh yeah, you'd never make them. Well, that's an extra like 9 or 10 points.
Connor, Rob, not much to be said. Probably the worst matchup of the week.
If I paid money to go and see that, I'd be looking for a refund.
My favorite thing is just Rob's kicker doing so well. It's just love to see it.
And his Vikings defense with -2, considering he loves the Vikings. I mean, it's got to be like getting stabbed in the heart by a loved one. So,
playing for that number one priority, and to be honest, he blew number one waiver priority. So just
Bell and Jarwin, Rob's team blown up by injuries. Bell and Jarwin getting injured as well. Connor's team, Thomas got injured.
Before, like Michael Thomas didn't get injured until right near the end of the game as well. Like before that, he'd done nothing. So I don't know.
When you look at his injury and his points, you think, oh, maybe it was on the first play, but wasn't. It was right at the end, and Laddie Murray doesn't apologise. I was talking to him earlier on. He says, "Nah, fuck him."
Yeah, so, like, it was on a nothing play as well. It was on a nothing play. Like the game was over at that stage as well, and he was still in the game, and he just got rolled up on.
Yeah, why he even was there was like why he was out in the field is a mystery, but he was, and that's the end of that. Will Fuller looked good from though. We didn't know what Will Fuller was going to do this year, and we still don't know because he's so unpredictable. But he looked like the good Will Fuller that sometimes shows up.
Yeah, he needs to stay healthy now for a consistent amount of games.
And that Kansas defense really got into Watson. They gave him absolutely no time whatsoever, and he ended up having a rushing touchdown and a decent rushing game because they were just trying to fucking blitz him all the time and putting him under so much pressure to give him no time. So I can see probably a lot less games this season where Will Fuller will be sort of dropping balls and things. When you've got DeAndre Hopkins there, you're only going for Will Fuller for sort of big plays. You target him.
He's open. He's more open because DeAndre's taking like two people away from him. So
yeah, but because of that, he's mostly down the field though. So I just think you're going to probably have a lot more targets that are going to be easier for him to take in this year. I think he's still going to drop stuff. I don't think he's as reliable, but I think he's going to have probably a better catching season this year. He has to. Connor's team needs a bit of work, as does Rob's.
Michael Thomas being injured is bad, but just looking there, and Robbie Anderson had a great week on his bench, but still, he had a great week. If he can continue playing like that, he can put up some great numbers for him in replacement of Michael Thomas, even just for now.
So what's the last one?
Last but not least, Baz and Mark. Baz getting off the winning start. Mark, the only rookie to lose, but again, another person who was blitzed by injuries this week. So I kind of worry for Mark going forward. He's got Joe Mixon and not a lot else to running back.
And Mixon didn't go off.
Yeah. So,
Sammy Watkins showed up from on week 1. I was going to call him week 1 Sammy because every week 1 he seems to have an excellent game, and then after that they don't seem to target him for weeks. So yeah, he had a good game. Not like the game he had for me last year on my bench, which was 35 points. That was crazy. And Hollywood Brown with something similar, close to 30 points on my bench last year. And then both of them went on to do absolutely nothing for me whatsoever.
I'm just going to have to correct you there. It was 40 points on your bench for week 1 last year.
Fuck. That would feel bad, even though I won this week. Yeah, Marlon Mack's injury is a real bad one. He's so solid. Like his Marlon Mack's floor is really high every week. And yeah, I like Marlon Mack. And to see him go out for a season with an Achilles injury, it's heartbreaking, really. So I do feel for Mark picking 12th and having what would have been your solid RB2 go. It's a blow.
Yeah, I didn't need a word with Drew Brees' quarterback situation as well. Drew Brees not look great. Tampa Bay is a good defense, but he looked his age. Oh, sure, lads, that's enough chatting about all that kind of crack now. We'll get into the juicy bits of week 2 and get into the previews. So I think we're going to start off with what I think we agreed is probably going to be tightest matchup of the week. I have it down as game of the week, which is Dez L and Baz. I got the 2 names melded in together there. So.
Sorry, we've only been friends for 10 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut now and let you give your thoughts on your own matchup there, Del, briefly.
I don't think this is going to be good for my nerves this week. His quarterback thrown to my wide receiver. Last week he threw to him a lot. Didn't get any touchdowns. I'm not sure if I want him to score touchdowns or if I want him to just get yardage like last week. I still don't know. So that'd be good. I'm hoping Allen Robinson, he's looking to get paid. So if they haven't paid him by the game, I'm thinking, he's got to go out and put a shift in. Trubisky was pure shit for 3 quarters, and then in the last quarter looked like a Pro Bowl contender. The last quarter he was excellent, but I think this week is probably going to be a little bit more balanced, and I think he's probably going to get the ball a little bit more to Allen Robinson. And if he gets the ball to him, you say, like, if he throws the ball up to him, he's winning 50-50s more often than not. So he's a solid. If he can target him, he's solid. So, but again, that depends on Mitch Trubisky. It's not dependent on Robinson, who I have full confidence in. I just don't have full confidence in Trubisky throwing it to him. Andrews is a good matchup against Houston. Judy Rager or Scary Terry for my flex. I watched Jerry Judy last week for the first half, and he stops and goes so quickly. It's Antonio Brown Mark II, I think. So tempted to put him in, but I might just want to see another week. At least I know from last season that Terry can pull things off. So I think I'm going to leave Terry in this week, but that's the position I'm sort of going for. I've dropped Laddie Murray to the bench. No insult to him, but Malcolm Brown went off last week and put himself in a position to be the number 1 ball carrier in that backfield. Cam Akers still has a bit to go, so I'm thinking they might ease him in again this week. And if they do that, I don't think Malcolm Brown's going to put up those numbers again this week, but I think he'll have the volume, and I think he has the talent to make yards when he's given the ball. So I think he could have a high amount of yardage, even if he doesn't get any touchdowns. So I'm confident, actually, in my OB2 this week that I might get 10 points or more. I think with my running back situation, that's probably all I can hope for. I picked up Jamal Williams this week, in the obvious hope that Aaron Jones gets hurt and that Jamal Williams goes in ahead of AJ Dillon, which is still up in the air. But I think they might if anything does happen. He's still, I mean, Jamal Williams still got on the
there
field.
was definitely. I watched the whole. Obviously, I watched the whole Packers game. It was like Aaron Jones wasn't getting like all the touches. There was a nice spread. AJ Dillon, I to heard, didn't get a lot of touches, but there was some series there where it was just Jamal Williams in some series. So
Yeah. So yeah, he was.
It's definitely a timeshare.
Yeah, I don't think they want
approach
to
in
punish
Green Bay.
Aaron Jones as much this year as they did last year. I don't think they want to punish him as much, so he'll probably get less snaps. But even with less snaps, he's still going to be as productive because he is immense. He really is immense. So, what about Baz's team? What do you think?
Yeah, I look the whole way down for your team, and it's just so evenly matched up in nearly every position. And like I said, that's what I mean. I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I think it could be potential to be high scoring and close. I think the only edge is like on both sides. John Watson goes up against Baltimore defense, which is not great, but then Melvin Gordon goes up against Pittsburgh this week, and we all know what Pittsburgh did to my running back last week. So
Yeah,
it'll be
completely.
the difference maker between whoever comes through that have a matchup there. Like if Melly G can steal one or two, like inside the red zone, like goal line touchdowns, that might be the difference. If John Watson can even get through the game without throwing an interception, that can make all the difference.
No, we
I
can't.
have this game match of the week coin flip. You think, Richie?
Yeah, pretty much the exact same. Looking through it, like it's so evenly matched. But like you said, like I don't like Watson going against that Baltimore defense. But at the same time, having Kyler Murray and Nuke, I think it's a good option. Mainly for Baz, because if he is throwing the Nuke, and because they did look like they're starting to get that kind of mind meld together, and if he does start throwing to Nuke, and Nuke just does what he does, then he's kind of handcuffing and getting those points. So it'll level Nuke out with yourself, I think. But yeah, Adele, I can see you winning. Sorry.
Oh, see now, Richie, why? I thought we were friends.
It's for beating me last week.
This is a sneaky earlier on. Someone's going to be going 2-0, and then probably going to be sitting on top of the Irish division. Whoever wins this, no matter what happens, week 2.
But I do have Baz this week.
Yeah, I think even
I
if
don't think it's going to be a blowout though.
No, I think it's going to be close. But you're saying, if Nick Hopkins has a good game, I can see Devontae Adams scoring another 30 points this week. He's going up against Detroit, no secondary there either. So whatever Nuke gets, I think Adams is going to match and do better again. So
I'm thinking Andrews against Houston this week could put up another 2 touchdowns. There was talk at the start of the season of Andrews' touchdowns fall off in his touchdowns because they couldn't see him getting 10 again this year. 2 in his first game and 2 easy in his first game. So I can see him really excelling this year in terms of touchdowns. And I think he's going to have another game against Houston, Houston's defense didn't look exactly sterling last week, did they?
Yeah. It was cheese though, but still it wasn't looking great.
Yeah, it was cheese.
Already this week we have a disagreement after last week going nearly the whole 6 matchups without having disagreements. So that's good for a bit of spice this week.
If Russell Wilson and Aaron Jones have another game like that, it's going to neutralize Mahomes and Christian McCaffrey. Like Wilson got nearly 12 points more than CMC, or not Patrick Mahomes. Like if he does that again, I'm absolutely banged.
Yeah,
then Mark Ingram, God knows that he's going to have any sort of touches this week again. Austin Eckler, I think he'll put up numbers. I've no idea what's going to happen at wide receiver. DJ Moore might have a good week if Robbie Anderson doesn't. Robbie Anderson took a lot of touches off him last week. I don't know who my second wide receiver is going to be. Mike Evans is questionable again.
Yeah, limited practice. So
Yeah, same. I don't have any faith in him anymore, which isn't great considering how high I went with the pick. But at the time, it seemed like a good pick, especially with Brady coming in. It would have seemed to be a good one, but Brady likes throwing to white guys.
I'd be worried about him. But once his hamstring's fine and he has Tom Brady throwing to him, then he's going to be immense. I have no fear from long term in the season. But until his hamstring's cleared, I'd be worried. I wouldn't be dropping him anyway.
Oh no, God, no. I'm gonna give it a couple of weeks, see how I would imagine he's gonna come back once, as you said, once his hamstring goes, and then I'll have the Brady Evans handcuff if I need it, mainly just for a bye week for Mahomes. My kicker, my defense, my QB, and my RB1, I have all the faith in. It's just that middle ground that I'm not too sure where it's gonna come from in there. And then on the bench, Adrian Peterson looks like he's going to have a good place in Detroit.
He does. He was impressive.
Deshaun Jackson, thought he'd be better. But
Carson Wentz had a nightmare. And he's not going to play that bad every week because he's not a shit quarterback. He's not Jameis Winston. You know, he can only get better. And if he gets better, Deshaun Jackson's going to get better. So
yeah, definitely. Like he put up small numbers, but I'll keep him for a while to see how he does. Sterling Shepard had an all right week. Like same thing. Could have done better, but didn't. But you don't really expect much from the Giants. Renfro didn't even play him. Don't expect to play him this week either. Gonna drop him for Gore if I can. And then Gronk had an absolutely abysmal week. Oh man,
I can't believe you started Gronk. I didn't realize you started Gronk last week. I can't believe that.
it was like screw it, high risk, high rewards. It didn't pay off.
yeah, when I saw Gronk coming into the team, I thought at that point I might have had a chance because when we were talking about it last week, you didn't have Gronk in the team; he was on your bench.
Oh yeah,
and I was worried. And when you put Gronk in, I thought that's better for me for sure.
I was like, Jared Cook, he's probably going to get about 9-10 points, but Gronk has that potential. It's either boom or bust, and it was bust.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, screw it. It was week one. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
I like Sean's team. I think he's got a couple of high scoring players, especially where we didn't think they were going to be. I was kind of hoping Zach Ertz would be injured for this week, but he's not.
Kenny Galladay is questionable.
Yeah, like
Edelman's on for a bench as well, and he's
I think
questionable.
Edelman will be in there before the end of the week, just because
Mike
I think from all the signs of it, Kenny G's kind of the exact same where Mike Evans is, where it's something to do with the hammy.
If
I
they
don't-
drop Tyrod Taylor, Mike Evans could be.
Practice today either.
Yeah, that's the way. I don't think Kenny Galladay will play again this weekend.
Mike Williams, although it's against Kansas, like this week, if they drop Tyrod Taylor, who have they got to put in instead of Tyrod?
They've only got a rookie. It's Herbert.
I don't know, but Tyrod Taylor didn't look great, and Mike Williams did all right, even though the quarterback didn't look great. So if they change the quarterback up and get someone in, he could be good, but I don't think he's going to do much this week. It's projected that he's going 11.15 points. It's not going to happen.
No.
I'm gonna wrap it up for me anyway and say I think Shauna gets it. Mahomes traditionally seems to be LA Chargers just seem to give him. If you look back at some of his performances against Chargers over the years, actually kind of struggled against them and Christian McCaffrey. And I know this for a fact. I think maybe the 2 times last year he scored under 10 points was when he was up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay just seemed to know how to handle him because, like I said, I'm speaking from experience with that one from having him playing there twice last year. I don't like either of your wide receivers. That's especially with Kenny Galladay. I don't think he's going to play. Keenan Allen looks like he's going to be limited with Tyrod there. I'm not a fan of Preston Williams being in there up against Buffalo. But so yeah, I'm going Shauna.
Yeah, same. Going with Shauna.
Yeah, so I'm going to go for Shauna this week, Richie. Sorry about that.
No, that's where my money is too. I just think her team looks better this week than mine does. Between injuries and just lack of performance. Yeah, my money's on Sean.
New England's going to be able to handle him like Russell Wilson a lot more. So he's definitely not going to get 40 points. But yeah, I can't look past Shauna. I just think overall she has a better matchup for this week anyway. I don't know. I don't want to be like overly optimistic, but I think I like my chances this week just because Mark's team is so banged up. Probably a good chance Matty Stafford won't be playing because I was kind of waiting to see what was happening with Kenny Golladay before whether to decide to start him. I have a few ideas in mind how I'm going to pick him up. Obviously, I'm not going to say you have to get poached from me, but one or two people out there that I definitely might pick up instead. Godwin's probably not going to play. I kind of mentioned this earlier on, so like again, I'm not worried about that. I can just move up Stephon Diggs from the flex and just stick in someone like Montgomery, Alan Lazard, Lee Sanders. I think I'm comfortable putting any of those in there in the slot instead of Stephon Diggs. I'll probably end up upping Crisco as well, just because it cost me last week, but I'm not. Yeah, I just think Drew Brees. I just don't like Drew Brees being his quarterback. He has to play Madison, who's like clear number 2 behind Dalvin Cook. I don't think he's going to get much more. Cooper is supposedly questionable, so if he doesn't play, that's an even bigger worry. Even more problems for Mark. So I don't know. Would have been signing 2 here, Barak. I just think I get back on the winning ways this week. What do you guys think?
Well, Alan Lazard, on a week that Devontae Adams put up monster points, he still put up 15.7 points. So, so as a replacement in there for Chris Godwin, I think you're all right. If you do go with Matt Stafford this week, I don't think he can do. I don't think he can do as bad as he did last week. I think he's only going to be better. And if you swap him out, you're going to get a better quarterback, or you're going to get more points this week. So I think your quarterback position is going to score slightly more. Saquon Barkley is going to have a hell of a lot better a week this week. Josh Jacobs last week put up the points you'd be expecting from a really good week from Barkley. So Josh Jacobs in there has the potential. Although it's against New Orleans defense, probably not going to be up in what he did last week, but
I'm not expecting them to get near 40 points again. You can get
you wouldn't
between 15 and 20. Yeah, if he gets between 15 and 20 points, I'll be happy with that.
Exactly. I was going to say, if he gets 20 points again this week and Saquon actually performs the way he can, then you're going to get more points at quarterback, more points in your running back position. Tyler Lockett, what do you think of Tyler Lockett?
Again, if Stephon Gilmore is going to be on him, I'm not going to like it much, but I don't know. He might be another guy. I don't know. I don't know if I can afford to take out him and Chris Godwin. He might just have to stay in, and if he has a bad game, he has a bad game. Hopefully, I can get by.
And hopefully, your kicker will start off a bit better this week. Yeah, your bench is just so solid. Dobbins, Lazard, Sanders all had great weeks. Edmonds scored a touchdown. Montgomery, he's going to do well. So overall, yeah, you're in a solid position. Mark's team all banged up. Joe Mixon had a bad week last week. So I see Joe Mixon doing better. I can't see Madison doing a whole pile. Amari Cooper is questionable. Kelsey is solid. Sammy Watkins is still in. Who knows with Sammy Watkins? Is this going to be the season where he comes out week 2 and performs like he did week 1?
I'm hoping not.
Yeah, you hope not. I'm going for you this week, Morty, and I think you're going to score more than 130 points there.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof. With your quarterback getting 16 points last week, you could probably add 10 points to that with a bit of, if you replace him, or if he has a better week. I think it's going up into the sort of
Green Bay secondary and nothing to. That's what. Like, I think the reason Green Bay are green is just because Minnesota got so much fucking garbage time points last week with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and who knows? They might get the shit kicked out of them, and in garbage time this week, he might throw 2 or 3 fucking touchdowns. Yeah, so see. Either way, I think Matt Stafford's going to do better this week than he did last week. Last week was his first week back in so long.
After he broke his back.
yeah, Saquon's gonna definitely do better this week. So I think you're gonna score. I think you're gonna score more than 130. That's a hot take for you right there.
In high score of the week?
You giving you high score of the week?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Richard, what do you think?
I think if he throws Peyton Barber in instead of Matheson, it'll definitely even it out a little.
Yeah, like I was like he did have Peyton Barber in there earlier on. Sorry to cut over you. And I was kind of only when I opened up again before doing this, I realized he swapped Matheson in, so he's kind of obviously in two minds over that.
Yeah, that's if he does put Peyton Barber in, I think that's a better call, and I think he'd get better points out of it. But yeah, I can't see him putting up enough points this week. I think you're definitely going to get it this week. I can definitely. I don't know if I can see him breaking the 130, but I definitely getting close.
Yeah, that 130 is conditionally, your quarterback.
Yeah, complete. Yeah, Matt Stafford could definitely put up numbers. He's done it before. But yeah, I definitely think you're going to get the win this week. He's got a lot of injuries, and some of them are going to be big hits.
Even if you put Peyton Barber in, I don't think if he doesn't get the touchdown work, then he's not getting great points. He's not getting a lot of volume, so he's dependent on getting those touches. And they've got Antonio Gibson coming in, who I'm hoping will get more of those off him, because with the workload, they kind of evened it out last week. Barber looked like he was better because he got the touchdowns, but Gibson had twice the amount of yards per carry. And if you're looking at it on a statistical level, then he's kind of the one you'd be looking for from, 3 of the downs. He's a wide receiving running back as well. So you're looking at 3 downs from him, and you're looking at Peyton Barber coming in for one. That one down, if it's on the goal line, he's got a chance. If it's trying to get, trying to just push over the line for a 1 yard gain for a first down, that's going to not be worth fuck all to him.
I think Michael gets this one pretty easily, and I think it might be another rough week or two for John before things start getting better, because I think he needs to figure out kind of like probably what a lot of real NFL teams are going through right now. He probably has to try to wait a week or 2, 3 weeks, kind of figure out what his best team's going to be. And I think he's going to get some losses earlier on, trying to figure out what his starting lineup's going to be. And I also think Carson Wentz will not be starting for him the weekend, so I expect some moves. I expect him and Rob to make some sort of deal where he gets Rodgers and John sends something Rob's away for that. So
Gotta have to be something ridiculous.
Odell Beckham.
I think I'd probably some sort of running back. No, Rob does himself the snowplow, so I could maybe see snowplow and maybe MVS or something like that, or the snowplow and Benny Snell for Aaron Rodgers, something like that.
I'd say it'll be a couple of people for Aaron Rodgers. Either that or John, come talk to me. I got Tom Brady.
I don't think John's going to be coming knocking your way, to be honest, but we'll see.
Brady's up for big week.
If he wants.
Brady had a real bad week, and he still put up like 13 points more than Wentz.
What? How much did Tom Brady score last week?
Like 24 points.
Oh, I realized he got that high.
Yeah, it was 2 mistakes. Like he made 2 mistakes, and they really bit him in the ass. And you could see that at the end. He was so disappointed because that's what.
What is John going on about? Being so fucking panicked about the Buccaneers that if he still managed to put up 24 points.
Yeah, sorry, he put up 20.
20. I think Michael gets it pretty easy.
Same.
Yeah, Big Ben looked good last week in his comeback. CEH is immense. Johnson was brilliant last week. He's got Devonta Freeman on his bench. Is Devonta Freeman going to sign for anybody?
No, supposedly the night his agent came out and said that he's picking between 4 teams, but he hasn't signed with anyone yet. So
I can't see him making any changes to his lineup, though. His lineup seems fairly set. John doesn't even have a tight end in there or defense yet.
He has both of them on his bench.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not too I'll run it back a bit. I don't think Michael will win very easily, but because Zeke could have another good week. AJ Green looks like he's himself. He could have a good week. T.Y. Hilton could fucking scorch that Minnesota defense. But I still think Michael's going to get it. But maybe I was being a little too hasty saying Michael's going to win it easily. But I still fancy Michael. It might end up being closer than I thought.
Yeah, I think John's definitely going to have a better week than last week, but I think Michael's definitely going to get the win.
Yeah, but like if he pulls off the A-Rod trade, that could swing things. So it's pretty hard to make a prediction on this one when one's team could look very different come Sunday. I'll stick with Michael for now.
Yeah, pterodactyls, hurricanes. I think the lads have this.
I
don't think Connor's going to do great this week. Like you can see he's definitely picked out different people that. Well, I think that Michael Thomas that injury is going to absolutely bite him.
Yeah, Julio Jones there would have been really nice to have now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But, Matt Ryan, he'll break your fucking heart. Like he had 25 points last week. It's not going to do the same next week. Who's playing Dallas? Maybe. But Matt Ryan, there's a reason why we always call him Shaq Ryan. He's gonna shit your bed.
I 100% agree with how lopsided Sleeper has this. I think this is going to be a blowout. I like Connor's team at every single position over Connor's. Like all the matchups, I would go with Connor's team. Josh Allen over Ryan, Kamara, Chubb over his running backs, Thielen, Juju over his wide receivers. Well, it all depends on if George Kittle plays, but still, if George Kittle doesn't play, he's got TJ Taylor Hawkinson, who looked good last week. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm 100% confident that Connors wins this. Put that in my mind.
Yeah, Allen had a couple of fumbles last week, and I was watching Red Zone. I saw a couple of fumbles. I thought, he's having a bad week. And then I had a look at his look at him at the end. 32 points, over 300 yards for the first time. So dropping a couple of balls didn't really seem to affect him. If anything, it spurred him on, and he's playing Miami this week.
Exactly.
So I can see Josh Allen having a monster week. Alvin Kamara's back injury that I had my fingers crossed for seems non-existent. I really thought that was an epidural, but it's clearly just some sort of anti-inflammatory thing. So if it was an epidural, he was in fucking trouble. An epidural would mean it was serious, and that's what the reports were. But he looks fine, fit, happy, got paid, playing with a smile on his face. Can't see any reason for him to not eat again. Nick Chubb, if I was the Browns offensive coordinator, I would say, Baker, you're passing the ball to your running back. You're just handing it off 100% of the time. Do not throw that fucking ball, because he's just so bad. I can't stand Baker Mayfield. And so Chubb should be getting plenty of volume. He should be the linchpin in that attack, because you cannot rely on Beckham. So Adam Thielen, I wasn't too hot on going into the season, and my God, what a catch last week! It was just an amazing touchdown. I was like, it is the Adam Thielen of old. He's still fine. Immense stuff. Juju Schuster-Smith looked solid. Looked really, really good. Big Ben looked good. So that means a lot for the wide receivers in the Steelers. I think they're going to be really good, because he's just lobbing balls up the field at ease and just putting them right in people's hands. Big Ben looks to be back. I think he's going to be good. Every position pretty much beats them. Even kicker, Robbie Gould, Josh Lambo. Go for Robbie Gould.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a one-sided match. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. I like some of Connor's team, but I think the lads just have it. They have a good, solid team that they're going to put up the numbers.
Connor's team
And
isn't going to
even
break
if
100
Marshall
points.
doesn't play, they have Hawkinson to go in.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to drop anyone. They're already there with it. So yeah, I think without a doubt the lads have it.
Yeah, Connor's team not going to break 100 points this week. Another hot take.
Yeah.
Right, last but not least.
Oh, this game. What I would not give to be in that house this
Oh, yeah.
Sunday and just watch it, because if there's one thing Hannah does well, it is shit talk. And to be Rob on Sunday is not going to be a fun day.
When Hannah has a few sips of alcohol in her, she's well ahead of Rob. Somebody could be sleeping on the couch that night.
Oh yeah, that's going to be very funny. Yeah, because Lamar Jackson's definitely going to put up good points for Rob, but I can't see him winning. I just can't. I think Hannah's team. We all said it. We all like Hannah's team. It's going to put up the numbers way more, and it's going to be a bad Sunday for Rob.
I don't think that monster week was a fluke. Sometimes every one of your players performs 120%. I don't think so with her team. I think her team is just that solid. A lot of talk about Dak Prescott being top 3 quarterback this year. I like him. I think he's a good quarterback and all, but I never saw that kind of level for him. But she's also got Derrick Henry, Chris Carson, Tyreek Hill. My God, Chris Ridley's not gonna. I can't see him doing what he did last week though. But other than that, everybody seems to be consistently good. Tyreek Hill, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor is in our flex. Jonathan Taylor's in our flex. If Jonathan Taylor was in my team, I'd be probably trying to play him in 2 positions. Because he's got that. He's probably going to have a massive week this week with Mac out. So
yeah, I can see him absolutely blowing up this week.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got Rob getting beat by a good bit, unfortunately for Rob. Rob's injuries, like Bell getting injured, not going to help him.
To be honest, I think it kind of helps with Lev Bell being out, because Lev Bell is just going to disappoint him. I think it's going to be close. Miles Sanders is back. He's the kind of guy who could put up RB1 numbers where he gets 2 touchdowns, 100 yards. He looks like he's back and over whatever hampered him. Lamar Jackson easily could be another 30 points. And downtown John Brown I like a lot. AJ Brown is questionable now. Apparently he missed practice today, so that would be a blow. It would ruin his triple Brown stack that he has going right now.
He only had a 5.4 in that last game, so he wasn't looking spectacular.
I'd nearly like Michael Gallup stuck in there somewhere, because I think there's going to be points galore against Atlanta, because it's a terrible defense. But I don't know. I went spicy with my last pick last week, and I might just go against all my gut here just to keep it spicy with us, because we started off in agreement, but next 4 matchups we were all in agreement again. So fucking I'll go Rob. I went spicy with last week with Baz and it paid off. Let's see if I can go spicy 2 weeks in a row. Final matchup, I'll go Rob.
The only way it's going to be worse to be in that house is if Rob wins. Because you're going to have Salty Hannah and then like cocky Rob. And then again, as you said, someone's sleeping on that couch.
Yeah, boys are probably watching this if they can get any sort of live camera footage and post it throughout the game when it's getting very spicy between those two. I think we'd all appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like the time when was it the Super Bowl and Danny was sitting in his Rams jersey and just looked so heartbroken. It's like, that's what I need.
Yeah.
Anything like that. I want to see Rob sitting heartbroken.
Yeah. So that's it, boys. We did it again. Until next week.
Peace out, folks. Enjoy the bowling. Chat to you soon.